Nice to meet you guys. My name is Megan. What's your name?
I'm Eli.
I'm Josh.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Abe.
Nice to meet you. And you guys, I noticed you canvassing out here for Zoran. Can you tell me a bit about what motivated you to canvass? What have you noticed so far?
I just think that it's a good campaign and doing things differently than other ones and running on something and not just I feel like a lot of Democrat things have just been running against Trump, which is a valid argument, but it's also better to actually present something better as an alternative.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is our big chance to actually build something new in this city, to transform the city. I really believe we could have something radically different from what we're used to, and at least that's what we're hoping.
And is this your first time being involved in an election? Oh, yeah.
So also, I think that it's not that we're trying to convince more people to resign. It's that reminding people who already wanted to remember to.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a lot of canvassing. You got to make sure people are actually out there with a plan to vote, it seems like.
That's right.
Yeah. And it's just been interesting talking to people and seeing different areas and seeing what people think.
And you guys are from this area here in Kensington?
Yeah, we live in Kensington, just one block, one subway stop from here, one subway stop north.
And what have been the responses so far while you're canvassing? What do you notice the breakdown to be of, Cuomo versus Zoran versus maybe even Sliwa supporters?
Well, we did we went out a number of times for the primary as well, and there it was interesting because early on there were a lot of people who were not sure who they wanted to vote for, or didn't even really know who the candidates were, and I think that's not really the case now. I think here, in the apartment buildings, the buildings that are mostly immigrants, working people, it's 100% Zoran.
100%.
Yeah, in the big apartment buildings so far of the people we've spoken to.
Yeah, I really agree. If you go to apartment buildings, everybody just says, "Yeah, I'm gonna vote for Zoran."
You heard it. The polls are in. So how do you think later today, what do you expect the breakdown to be of the votes?
He's going to win. But obviously it's better if it's a landslide and worse if it's close. I'm feeling optimistic.
Yeah, I think it would be hard. You never know. And obviously probably a lot of the money that Cuomo has made some difference. But it feels like everything that worked against Cuomo and for Mamdani in the primary is still here or more powerful. So I don't see how Mamdani could lose.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll look
Thank
for
you.
this online.
My name's Megan. What's your name?
Isaac.
Isaac, and you said you voted this morning. Did you vote at this precinct here?
Yeah, the precinct, the library. Yeah.
And who did you vote for?
I voted for Cuomo.
Can you tell me why?
I think he'll make a great mayor.
Did you like him as governor?
Some things, not everything.
What did you think about Mamdani? Or was it an anti-Mamdani vote? That seems to be kind of the case for a lot of Cuomo voters. Or are you enthusiastically for Cuomo?
Some things that Mamdani says seem to get me a little nervous.
Like what?
I don't feel like he'll prosecute crime so strongly.
So you're concerned about safety?
Yes.
And you think Cuomo would do a better job at addressing safety?
That's what I feel, yeah.
Are there any things specifically about Mamdani's safety policies that concern you?
I don't know all the details, but from what I've been hearing, what his statements he's making, that's what it seems to me.
And how have you noticed your neighbors voting in this area?
I've noticed them coming to vote, but I don't know what they're voting for.
All right, so you think it could be this area is somewhat split, it seems like, between Zoran and Cuomo.
Seems that way, yeah.
Who do you think is going to win the election?
I really don't know. I think it's close.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And your name is?
My name is Alex.
Nice to meet you. And you said you live in this area and you've voted already.
Yes, I live in this area, I work in this area, and I voted today, yes.
And who did you vote for?
Andrew Cuomo.
Can you tell me why?
Well, I had to choose between the bad choice and worst choice. So I didn't want, as proud Jew, I didn't want to vote for Mamdani. I didn't want him to become a mayor. And whatever ideas he has, I do not agree with that. So I just simply do not want him to become mayor of the city.
What were some things about Mamdani that you think would be bad for Jewish New Yorkers, in your opinion?
Mostly anti-Semitic views. His views on it's anti-Israel, and he's being pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel, which I stand against.
So for you, it's criticisms of Israel. You see that as anti-Semitic.
Yes, I see that. Most Jews that I know, that I talk to, they see it the same way I do. And even though I would not probably vote for Andrew Cuomo in other circumstances, but since the choices are limited, I gave him my vote.
And you mentioned that you were kind of voting for like a lesser of two evils, in your opinion. What is it about Andrew Cuomo that gives you some hesitation to vote for him or some reluctance?
Well, he's been around for quite a while, and we know his track record, so to speak. And his handling of, the nursing home stuff during the COVID and all those things, allegations, allegedly, of sexual misconduct, harassment at work. We know all that. But now that being said, I have to choose between this and anti-Semitic. And to me, anti-Israel position is it's really more important to me than inappropriate behavior. I'm sure he can fix it, and he can be watched, and he could learn, and that's why it's more important to me.
What do you make of, there have been some big Democratic leaders who are Jewish who have endorsed Zohran Mamdani, such as Jerry Nadler, the congressman, and Brad Lander. Does that sort of assuage some concerns you might have, or for you, you still view him as being not good for Jewish New Yorkers?
I just don't see the names you mentioned. I don't see them as strong leaders of a community who could lead the city, basically. I do not really see them as strong leaders who could represent the Democratic or any party, for that matter, or be independent, as Cuomo has registered himself. I just don't see them as strong leaders.
And what do you think about Curtis Sliwa? Some people are calling on him to drop out of the race. It seems like, up until the very end, obviously, he's been very adamant, don't make me drop out. Some Sliwa voters have even had to make the decision to vote for Cuomo, even if they don't want to, if they, their main thing is stopping Mamdani. What do you make of all that? Do you think that he should be pressured to have dropped out?
Well, pressuring is not the word that I would use. No one should be pressured to vote. They should, follow their beliefs and follow their heart, so to speak. Curtis Sliwa, he's been around for quite a while, since the 70s. We all know his track record, which is to say subtle, so to speak. I know Staten Island probably would vote for him. Other than that, I just don't see, he does not have that much support behind him. And he always, comes up on a larger stage, so to speak, right before the election. So he does not probably have financial support to gain strong following. So he comes up right before the election, he gets his 10 to 15%, and that's about all. And that's been pretty much the common denominator for quite a while. So in my understanding, if you want to defeat Mamdani, who does have a lead coming into, the polls are showing that he's in front of Andrew Cuomo before the election. So in order to try to defeat Mamdani, he probably should have dropped out and endorsed Cuomo. And I think that would be the right thing for him to do. But for some reason, he did not. And I don't judge. I'm just saying the way I see it. He should have dropped out and give his endorsement to Andrew.
How do you think today's going to go? Last question.
I think Honestly, if you look at it from independent outsider's perspective of view, I think Mamdani is going to win. Even though the city is trying to get up and turn out is pretty large, people are showing up and they vote, yes. But Mamdani probably is going to win.
All right.
I think that's just how it's going to end up.
Are you at peace with that? Some people are like, I'm gonna leave the city, blah blah blah. What do you think?
It's up to people to leave. I honestly don't think the people that are saying they will leave the city, they're actually going to get up and go. I do not believe that. They're saying it because they need to,
Scare people, maybe.
scare. Yeah, they just need some sort of movement around them on social media, something like that. What was the first question? Not leaving
yeah,
the
how
city.
yeah.
How I feel about that? Oh, okay. Well, I'm not scared of anything or anyone for that matter, because I know how it works in politics, and I really believe that with the system we have in the United States, for that matter, and in the city, no politician will be able to change dramatically pretty much anything within his term, and even if he changes little things here and there, no one's going to vote for him on second term. So, he's going to take care of probably things like alternate parking side rules and stuff like that. People are not going to be happy about it. But it's just as far as it goes for me. And as a New Yorker since 1998 or something like that, I learned to adapt to pretty much anything. When it comes
You're
to
resilient.
politics.
Yeah. Okay.
I am, yes.
right.
Just like New Yorkers are.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you. Who did you vote for?
I voted for Cuomo.
Can you explain why?
I thought he was the best choice. I wasn't really into Mondami. I just, I'm kind of old enough to not really buy into all the promises of free this, free that. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. We already kind of have free bus fare because of all the fare evasion. And there's, I see kids and old people alike just kind of hop on the bus and they don't pay for the subway rides. I see a lot of people just going through the turnstiles and not really paying, and the cops don't do anything about it. So it's kind of like, if you're a New Yorker, that that's kind of a joke to promise free bus fare, because if you are clever enough, you can just kind of hop on the bus. Not that I do it. I mean, I do the unlimited stuff through my my phone with my my iPay. I guess they call it iPay, Apple Pay. But it's not the issues that matter to me. I just want somebody who kind of knows what they're doing, and I just think Mondami makes a lot of stupid promises because he knows younger people are going to go for we want cheaper rent, we want cheaper everything, and I just think it's an empty promise. I'm not really crazy about socialism, so that's kind of my main reason. I mean, I am put off by the whole nursing home thing with him and what he did
With Cuomo?
Yeah, with Cuomo. So, it's like all elections, you're never going to get a perfect candidate. So I think he's probably the best. And, in the polls, I've seen different opinions on whether Mondami would win or Cuomo would win. I mean,
What do you think about how today's going to go?
It's 50-50 for me.
Really? Okay.
It's 50-50. I mean, I kind of, it can kind of go either way. I think that now Mondami is less popular from what I see in the polls. Like he oh, sorry. I'm right in the the sun's kind of
No, it's going to be in the shade, yeah.
It's going to be in the shade. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be it's going to be a tight race. I really hope that Cuomo wins. But then again, if Mondami wins, people might get what they asked for. They might get, changes, but the changes may not be what they wanted.
So on one hand, you think he's making empty promises, but then you think also if he carried out some of his policies, you think that people would be unhappy with the results, it sounds like?
All this stuff, I mean, what's going to hold him back is Hochul and his ability to get money. And so far she says she doesn't want to raise taxes. And so I don't know how you're going to tax the rich. I mean, that's kind of like the empty promises. We're going to tax the rich and make those fat cats pay. And it's kind of a one-dimensional sort of thing that I'm not going to, insult our younger voters, but I think they're more easily swayed by simple ideologies. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I mean, I just think that we're kind of better off with him And I fully realize that he's deeply flawed. So it's like everything else. It's like it's going to be the lesser of two evils, basically.
That's pretty much what everyone I've spoken to has said who's voting for Cuomo. I have yet to find a really enthusiastic Cuomo voter.
Yeah, I think it's a case of, the people that vote for Mondami, they're just, I see this, repeated sort of thing that people say is that they're like, oh, he's young and has energy. And it's like, well, I'm old and I have energy. I'm dragging
Bernie Sanders, he's got energy.
Dragging this 30-pound laundry bag back, and it's like, the age thing doesn't really matter. It's kind of like, I just think that he just makes a lot of promises, and then he kind of does that fake smile where he's just like, he always has to end every sentence with the smile. And this is just my opinion. I kind of see through it. I think he's kind of like a used car salesman.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's been interesting talking to people here. It sounds like there's this reluctance, right, to vote for Cuomo. Some people, though, who I've spoken to here, their main issue is they perceive that Mamdani would be kind of detrimental to the interests of Jewish New Yorkers. Whether or not that's actually going to happen, the mayor has pretty little influence over U.S.-Israel foreign policy. But what do you make of that as being a main issue for Cuomo voters?
Well, I'm curious what's been the kind of consensus in this neighborhood, because we have a heavy Hasidic population around here, and I would imagine they would kind of shy away from Mondami. But from what I've seen, people vote for him for different reasons, and so that's why I said it's going to be a close race. It's going to be interesting, and Sliwa, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, I think he should have dropped out and endorsed Cuomo. There's a certain point where you kind of have to admit that you're not going to win. But, that's his character. He's kind of the tough New Yorker, and I can understand why he wouldn't do it. I just think that
he's the actual, nominee of his party, right? Whereas Cuomo wasn't. So it's a tough thing, right, to ask someone to step down who's the Republicans chose. But you're saying you wish that for the sake of defeating Mondani that he would have stepped down.
Yeah, let's be honest. I wasn't a big fan of de Blasio. I wasn't a big fan of de Blasio, but I voted for him. And I kind of regretted my decision later on. I just think his priorities were in weird places. And was he the one that dropped the groundhog?
Oh, yeah. I think that was before my time. It was a big scandal thing. That was what did it for you?
That was kind of their sort of writing was on the wall of he's kind of a boob and kind of not really somebody I'm proud to have as a mayor, but the city will go on. Yeah. We'll survive.
So what's your name?
David.
Nice to meet you. And you live in this area?
I do.
And
I voted here.
All right. When did you vote? You did early voting?
I voted about a week ago.
And who did you vote for?
I voted for Zoran.
Can you tell me why?
There are a lot of answers I could go to, but mostly it's that he's the only candidate who is, first of all, not owned by special interests, and that is so is accountable to the whole people, and then also that he's the only candidate who will govern on behalf of the whole people instead of, sorry, we got a lot of people coming through.
No worries.
Instead, govern on behalf of the whole people, instead of loading forcing the weight of economic recovery onto the working people. So by raising taxes on the wealthy and funding our public services, we can have a city that works for everybody.
Let these people go through. And when you said he's not owned by special interests, was Curtis Sliwa not on your radar
that's
either?
True. No, that's fair. You're right. Curtis Sliwa is correct. I will give Curtis points. I would never vote for Curtis Sliwa for mayor. I disagree with his positions on just about everything. But I will grant you, he is not, you're right. He is free of the special interests as well.
Yeah, it's interesting how, there's obviously been so many calls for him to drop out of the race. And he's been like, nope, I'm in this. I am the Republican, nominee and can't tell me what to do. So what have you voted before in New York City elections? Has this kind of been, you have?
Yeah.
And have you noticed a surge? People are talking about young people. There's been more of this galvanized voting effort. What do you make of that?
Oh, the turnout is going to go up, and that's a good thing because historically, turnout in New York City in the last 20 years has been in the mid-20s for municipal elections, which is terrible. We used to have it in the 50s back in the 80s, and then even in the 80% range back in the 60s. So yeah, I think turnout's going up, and I think that's a good thing.
And how have you noticed your neighbors voting?
This area is going to go for Zoran.
For Zoran? Yeah, in the primaries it went for Zoran.
It went to like 70% for Zoran in the primary. He's going to win it again.
Right. Do you think that there's some may say, oh, Park Slope, this is a very affluent area. These are maybe like luxury beliefs. What do you make of that criticism?
I think that's not a criticism of I don't understand that criticism at all. It's the same argument as like Bernie Sanders owns 3 houses and he's a socialist. That's stupid. If Bernie Sanders owned 3 houses and then said, well, actually, I don't support taxing the rich anymore, then that would be something. But I don't care that he owns 3 houses. That doesn't make any sense to me. Here's the facts. Yes, Park Slope is an upper middle class to wealthy, decently well-off neighborhood. But Zohran Mamdani's coalition in the primary was extremely socioeconomically diverse. You've got your Park Slopes and your Cobble Hills, but, you've also got Jackson Heights. You've also got, Manhattan Chinatown. You've got, large Mariners Harbor in Staten Island. You've got large swaths of the outer boroughs that voted for Zohran. So this idea that Zohran's the rich people or the middle-class candidate, that doesn't strike me as first of all, it's not true. It's not true. And it's also not a substantive criticism.
And what is your prediction about how things are going to go tonight?
I think Zoran's going to win. I couldn't tell you by how much, but we'll see in a few short hours.
Cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Megan. What's your name?
Vicky.
Nice to meet you. And you mentioned that you live in this area.
I do. And have for many years.
You did early voting?
Yes, I did. I voted, I think, on last Thursday.
And who did you vote for?
I voted for Mamdani.
Can you tell me why?
Because I'm interested in something new. I think he's run an incredible campaign. I think he's very interesting. I want to give someone a chance. I want to give him a chance. And I'd like to think that whoever he surrounded himself to run such a great campaign, that he'll surround himself while he is mayor of New York. So, yes.
So it's more like the effort, it sounds like, behind the campaigning that matters a lot to you. How about some of his policies? How do you feel about them?
Well, anybody who's going to say affordability and really stick to that message, I've been very impressed with that as well. I think that the city has become unaffordable for many, many people. Childcare. I love his idea of free transportation. And is he going to be able to do these things? We don't know. But I love the sentiment. I love the kindness. And I like how he speaks to people.
Great. And you mentioned you've lived here for many years. How do you think your neighbors are thinking about this election? Have you noticed any trends?
No, actually, I haven't. It's usually a neighborhood of signs, and a lot of people let you know how they feel. But I haven't really seen any trends. I've seen Mamdani signs in storefronts, though, more often, which is kind of interesting.
Have you seen a lot of canvassers from either the Cuomo campaign or the Mamdani campain here?
Only the Mamdani campaign. And they've been knocking on my door, and I talk to them. And I'm very galvanized by the youth that has come out and how Mamdani's campaign has done something to get them excited. And I think that's really key.
Do you have any predictions about how things are going to go today?
I've given up predicting a long time ago. But, I hope for optimism and for kindness and a level of political discourse to come back. That's what I hope for.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Thank you. And so who did you vote for?
I voted for Zohran Mamdani.
And can you explain why?
Yes, because we just need to break the momentum of the.
Oh. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to look in the camera.
All right.
Sure in the frame.
We just need to break the momentum of what has been a very paralyzed process, which is serving too much money and too many established corporate interests. And it's not just a reaction to Trump. It's releasing a whole new, what I hope will be a more of a cooperative energy in the city and beyond.
And what do you make of Trump kind of just endorsed Cuomo? Is that something that factored into your vote also?
He grudgingly endorsed Cuomo, but just because he's a, he has no ideology. He's just really, for him, he wants a pragmatic partner in serving wealth and wealthy interests.
And what were some of Zoran's proposals that you were excited to vote for?
I think that the universal child care thing is very moving in the right direction. I mean, look, he's essentially following the Bernie Sanders playbook, for lack of a better word, and despite all the other distractions, he wants to just shift the power to more towards, the general citizenry than the money and the corporate interests, and we just need to break it. It's really very much like the robber barons 100 years ago. It really is, or more than 100 years ago.
And what do you think about how your neighbors have been voting, or maybe talking about this election? Have you noticed any trends?
Not really, because we're in a pretty consistently lefty neighborhood, and I think that Mamdani's apparent success, certainly success in changing the game up till now, is indicative of. Excuse me. Oh! That's what I'm trying to avoid. Okay. Is indicative of the shift. That's what we got, and it's well beyond the really progressive. The progressive bastions of Park Slope and the Upper West Side, and the real question is, can he succeed, and can he put an administration together that delivers? And he's under a lot of pressure to do that.
Great. Thank you so much for your thoughts that you have about this election, how you think things are going to go tonight.
I think it's going to be closer than people thought at this moment, because I think there's a good deal of fear and reaction on the part of the sort of center and center-right, but I think Mamdani's going to pull it out, and then I think he's got a few months to put together what should be some pretty dynamic proposals, and I just hope that he's not going to get dragged down by the very, very, very old school left wing, but I don't think he will. I think he's new blood, and there's going to be some changes.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Sure,
Have a
good
good one. And you just came from voting here. Can you tell me who you voted for mayor?
Sure, Mr. Sliwa.
Oh, really? And what made you vote for Mr. Sliwa?
I'm a huge animal advocate, and so is he, and that was the first thing that I liked about him. He created the Guardian Angels back in the 80s. I was riding the subway. I felt very safe. That is no longer what is happening on the subways. I think, although they're complaining that he doesn't have enough experience, I think he'd be great at it. We all need a chance to prove ourselves. I think this would be a great opportunity for him.
And did you vote for him in 2021 as well? Or?
I did.
And, I mean, a lot of people have called for him to drop out, but he's been the Republican nominee. What do you make of that situation?
Well, you're going to have the more popular parties, of course, wanting him to bow out to give them a bigger chance, a greater chance of winning. I think he should stick to his guns like he's doing, and who knows, tonight will be the final night, and we'll see. Maybe that perseverance will get him what he wants. Will get us what we need.
You're hoping for the Sliwa surge.
I'm hoping for the Sliwa surge. Come out, guys. Sliwa voters, let's go.
So, did you notice there were some Sliwa Halloween costumes this year? Did you see them?
I did not. I wasn't out and about.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you just said that you voted right here today?
I did, yes.
And who did you vote for?
For the mayor?
Yes.
I voted for Zoran.
Can you tell me why?
I believe that the city needs to be more affordable, and he seems like the candidate to do it.
And what are some policies of Zoran's that you like specifically?
Rent freeze, as well as the grocery store seems a little outlandish, but if he can pull it off, I'd be amazed.
Are you optimistic that he can accomplish a lot of his policies? Or
I'm optimistic that things will change more than with any other candidate.
so you're looking for kind of just a new person, new energy, it sounds like.
Exactly.
Great. Are there any other observations you had from Election Day today, maybe like this neighborhood in general?
We live in Two Bridges. This place is very diverse. Lots of people at the polling booths, lots of people who come from different backgrounds, and it's good to see people getting out and voting. True democracy.
Nice to meet you. And did you vote at this location earlier today?
I voted at the one closer to my house on near Catherine Street.
Okay, but like this area here. Awesome.
District 1.
And so who did you vote for and why for mayor?
I voted for Mamdani because I love his free and fast bus policy. I love his pragmatism. I love how well researched he is. And I think he's got a really kind way of approaching politics that would actually really include everyone in the city.
Great. And how did you hear about Zoran's plans?
I was canvassing for him a while ago. So
Pre-early.
Okay. Yeah.
What have you noticed throughout your canvassing and like what areas did you go to?
So I primarily did Clinton Hill, Washington, because that was one of the first ones I signed up for. In the early days, no one knew who he was, and I had to look up how to Google how to say his name. And then as it went on, it became very clear that people were really excited about him. I also did calls in Spanish, and I've noticed when doing calls in Spanish that sometimes people are a little bit more hesitant in other elections, but in this one, people were really excited to tell me they were voting for him.
And what have you noticed about this neighborhood? Maybe can you glean anything about like how people are going to vote?
I do have a neighbors group chat. I live on Catherine Street in an area where people primarily speak Cantonese and a little bit of English. And people are a little bit more reserved, sharing who they're going to vote for. But of the younger generation, people were definitely voting for Mamdani.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And who did you vote for?
For mayor, I voted for Como. For the DA, is it the DA? I voted for Maud. And for city council, Helen voted for Helen.
Signs all around.
Yeah.
Are you usually a Republican voter or?
I'm a registered Republican, but I don't vote party lines.
Gotcha. So what informed your voting in this way?
Well, I really like Curtis, and I liked his debate performance and his ideas. However, it's just the polling is so bad for him, and I figured I was really voting anti-Mamdani more than anything else. So I voted for Como.
And what do you think of Trump endorsing Cuomo? Did that sway your vote either way or no?
No. It wasn't really a Trump decision at all. It was really weighing my options with Curtis and how realistic it was for him to get into office. And when just the polling out there has just said Cuomo was closer to Mamdani than anyone else. So.
Actually, I just spoke to a woman who said, she was a Curtis Sliwa supporter, and then she ended up voting for him anyway because the animals issue was her number one thing.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's less important to you, and it's more about you're critical of Mamdani. What are some criticisms that you have of his platform?
His association with the DSA, his socialist ideas. I just don't think anything is for free. It sounds great, but someone's paying for it. His inability to denounce Hamas, his anti-police, defund the police rhetoric that he has online, even though he may have said something else afterwards. But
or keeping on Commissioner Tisch, does that change your views of how he?
No, not really. He said a lot of stuff anti-cops, and the last thing we need is less cops, less police officers in the streets. New York City has gotten really terrible ever since Bloomberg left, so we can't have a de Blasio 2.0.
And what's your impression of how your neighbors are voting in this election? This is kind of an interesting area. This is considered Two Bridges, correct? Right.
Well, Zoran has a headquarter office over there. A lot of Zoran supporters around here. A lot of young voters, and I actually talked to a couple of them in the streets just to see their opinion. But it seems to me a very big Zoran supporter district here.
Great. Are there any other observations you have about the election? Maybe things that you noticed today? in terms of voting?
No, yeah, it's probably the busiest I've ever seen in this district at this hour. We usually vote late after work, and it's usually empty, but I'm glad to see more people are voting. We need more voter turnout. Local elections tend to have a lower turnout than the national elections, but I'm glad to see people are voting.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate
you
it.
for your time.
Thank you. I'm Megan. What's your name?
Zoe.
Zoe, nice to meet you. And who did you vote for mayor in this election?
I voted for Zoran.
And can you tell me why?
I would say that as somebody with like more progressive hopes, generally, it's been definitely a bit tough these past few years. And so it kind of felt like a glimmer of hope, and that somebody was concerned about what I was concerned about, and that he was really talking to stuff that felt like very real and legitimate, and like the disillusionment with the regular Democratic Party. I feel like he brought back like a spark and was being like somebody that could really stand by what he was saying for the first time, and spoke to things that other people would be scared to talk about.
What were some of those things for you that resonated the most?
I mean, I definitely feel like as a politician, being unafraid to like say what you think about what's happening in Palestine, and because there's a lot of money and lobbyists there, the fact that he feels like he can stand on his own 2 feet about that, and about like going against people that hold the most amount of money in this city, I think is pretty cool, because it just shows that you're not afraid. And it seems like everybody is kind of afraid because they're afraid of the people that have the most money. And so I don't know, that's really inspiring and exciting to me, because it seems like that's the only way that things are going to change.
So you're looking for some new energy. You're looking for someone who is like against the establishment, it sounds like.
In some ways, I mean, like times are changing a lot. And so I think that like with that shifting times, you can see like the GOP took the power of that time and were willing to sort of do what it took and have the balls. And it seems like the regular Democratic Party as it stands is not willing to do that. So yeah, I feel like he offers like a little bit of teeth, which I really like.
In terms of policies, what are some of the specific things that made you vote for Zoran?
So I think that the free childcare seems really important to me, but for me it was less about individual policies and more about just like the glimmer of hope of things sort of changing in a direction that like I felt it was overall the fact that he was on the streets like talking with normal people, and he has done like a lot of advocacy in the past, like with his whole thing at the hunger strike and the taxi drivers, and like working so sort of low with everybody for so long, that I just feel like generally what he seems to care about and what I seem to care about, working in the Working Families Party and stuff, seems like it would align more than like fast and free buses. Sure, like I don't use the bus, I use the subway, but I'm sure that would be helpful to some people that he's talked to that I haven't talked to.
Have you been involved in New York City politics before, or did this election kind of get you interested in the mayoral race?
So I haven't lived in New York that long, so one thing about me voting is that I didn't feel too comfortable voting on a lot of the more specific amendments or even on the city council, because I feel like that should be kind of reserved. I move around a lot in this city, so I don't necessarily want to vote for like this specific district, because I feel like there are a lot of people in Chinatown or whatever that have been, they clearly know what they want for their neighborhood, but I did feel like I could speak like to the general New York City, so I felt comfortable voting for mayor and comptroller and stuff like that. I'm sorry if that was not your question.
No, that's okay. Do you have any other observations or things you want to add?
Well, this is kind of embarrassing, but I thought that the voting day was November 5th.
No.
So I had to run here late, but I'm glad I got my vote in. I hope that, my dad said New York City is going to get what it deserves if it votes for Zoran. So we'll see how that goes, but I don't know. I think the same thing as him. It's like people are out voting and whatever, and I think that's cool because I believe in democracy. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.